We are on page. Which cake? Oh, no, I won't do something good. I'm not going to send you home. No, they have mushroom. Just hide it somewhere. I don't know where they hide it. Lama Vav on the base. 72. We're talking about things which are prohibited and to derive any benefit from, and they forbid when they're in a mixture. Now, Egla Rufa is one of these. We're up to the fifth line down. Egla Rufa. Now, the truth is, it's important to know, because this threw me off when I was preparing today. Egla Rufa is not also, doesn't aser, even though it said kosher in our Mishnah, about all this stuff. Kosher means only when it's a significant size. Because the meat stuff, at least, not everything, depends what it's talking about, but the meat stuff, if it's small and it falls into a pot, even though it's also about no, it doesn't aser the whole pot. It's got to be what's called a chaticha ru'il iskabed. It's got to be a piece of meat which you would serve to a guest. Now, even that, the Gemara still has to prove. The Gemara is eventually going to prove that, not yet. But if it's a small piece, like if you have a piece of stew meat from an egla rufa, from the neck from the animal's neck whose neck was wrong, which fell into your chulent, so then it doesn't answer the chulent.
What if it's no sin time?
No, I'm not talking about no sin time. I'm talking about no sin time. I'm talking about where it tastes the same as the chulent meat, so you can't tell the difference between the two. So if it's not no sin time, so then it depends if it was a chatich ru'il iskabed or not a chatich ru'il iskabed. Okay, so egla rufa sham. We learn how do we know it's forbidden by now? Because we learn in Yerushalmi it says sham by egla rufa, and it says sham by Miriam's death when Miriam died. Ma sham amula alone, just like when Miriam died. Also by noya mace, of course, is forbidden to our benefit from. Av sham ha'amur. Khan, so to Shom, which it says by the roof, also by Noah, that the roof is forbidden to our benefit from. But Tzipori Mitzorah, also the birds of a Mitzorah. Now, the birds of Mitzorah are specifically talking about the bird which remains, which is slaughtered, not the bird which remains alive. Because the Tzipori Mitzorah gets two birds, they slaughter one, use the blood to dunk the other one in. What?
Is it slaughtering or malika?
Slaughtering. This is not in the base of Mikdash. This is done 7 days before it brings its korbanos. It's not the base of Mikdash. It's not malika. So in any event, but the slaughter one nevertheless aser b'ano. Okay. In Torah Kol Tzipor Torah Tochelu, it says all kosher birds you should eat, and we learned that this passage is telling not just about the birds enumerated in the parasha, but it's talking about also the zuachaya, that's the bird which survives the Mitzorah cleansing process. It says these are the birds you shall not eat from them. Is that shchita, and we derive from that these are the birds who were slaughtered, right? The bird which is slaughtered in the Mitzorah process. Or chiluf, maybe it's the opposite. Maybe the bird which is slaughtered is permitted, and the bird which was survived is forbidden. So it says, the Torah never made something which is alive also. Even if an animal is worshipped, it's not considered to be also ba'ana. It's not allowed to bring as a korban, but it's not also to derive benefit from. So there's never anything which is alive which becomes also ba'ana. It's only something which is dead, and therefore we say it's the dead bird which becomes also ba'ana, not the live bird. Okay?
Shiur shenaka.
Shiur is not also ba'ana until it's actually even what?
Bestiality.
It's not also ba'ana.
Still work it?
Yeah, sure.
Get its milk?
Eat it. Sure.
Really?
Yeah, honest. Okay. Even Shor Nitzka might be also after Gemar Din, after they paskin on it, but it's certainly not also before Gemar Din. In other words, it has to have, maybe after Gemar Din. Okay,
Right after Gemar Din is supposed to go out.
Yeah, but if they didn't, I mean, once Gemar Din has occurred, if it's not overturned, even if the animal's then slaughtered, Kedin, it's also ba'ana. Right? Even if it's not actually stoned, if you slaughter it, so it remains also ba'ana. The hair of a nazir, because it says you have to put the hair of the nazir under the fire which is burning underneath the shlomim which you're cooking, so therefore you're not allowed to do anything else with it. Upetach hamor, the firstborn of of a donkey, arifa. We learn now Yerushalmi, it says arifa here, and it says arifa by the egla rufa, malon kovra, just like by the egla rufa, where you wring the neck of the calf. So it is. It's also by the cover of Basman buried, and it's also to benefit from. Afkan, so to here, cover you have to bury Basman, and it's supposed to forbidden to benefit from. And we know Basman is also by no, because we learned Tani B'Shloshim Mekomas Ksiv Lo Savasho Gedit says in 3 places do not cook a kid in its mother's milk. And we say, why does it say 3 times? One is Achil, one is to forbid you to eat it. And the other is forbid you to benefit from. From the others to forbid you to derive to cook it together. Okay, so the truth is it's really backwards. In other words, once it's cooked, it's forbidden to eat together. It's forbidden to derive benefit from. Okay, chulin which are slaughtered in the Azara. How do we know that it's also banoah? Rabbi Yechon said, "Omar Torah." It's a logic, fascinating logic. It's called the mamatino, not a kavachomer. Mamatino is if A is to be, how will we do this? If A is similar to B, and B has trait C, then probably A has trait C as well. That's what it is. Okay, it's called Ma'amatinu. It's the inference. Okay, so Ma'amatinu, right? Ma'amatinu literally means what have we found? So what it means is Torah says, Shchot shali b'shali. Torah says, slaughter my stuff in my place. Means slaughter karbanos in the Beis Hamikdash. V'shalcha b'shalcha. And slaughter your stuff in your place. Meaning animals are shachlin, slaughter in outside the Beis Hamikdash. Ma shali b'shalcha, just like if you slaughter my stuff in your place, but you took a carbon and slaughtered it outside the Beis Hamikdash, so then also it's forbidden to derive hanoah from. Right? So too, you slaughter your stuff in my place. If the word also is missing here, but it should be forbidden. Okay? Now the Gemara is supposed to ask the question: Ve'anush kares? Do you get punished kares as well? If you shech chulin bazar, do you get kares? Because no, if you do kachim b'chutz, you slaughter kachim outside the Beis Hamikdash. Karbanos outside the Beis Hamikdash, you get kares for that. What about if you slaughter chulin bazar? Says Gemara, no. It's not. The Rabbi Shmuel Amar L'meidi mikav chomer. Didn't Rabbi Shmuel say you learn out from a kav chomer, meaning a prohibition? Ve'inochi mikav chomer, you not punished based on a kav chomer. Okay. So the truth is that again, as I said, there's a mamatzinu, not a kav chomer, because it's not kal and chomer here. It's extrapolated from one to the other, but it's by inference, parallel inference. But nevertheless, it seems like the more holds the same principle applies to Memotzias, applies to Kav Chomer. You can't learn out punishments for Kav Chomer, you can't learn out punishments from Memotzinu. Okay, the Tzinu Yerushalmi, the Yerushalmi, they all comment on it, Yerushalmi, I think as well, but we're not going to get into it.
Is it on the same level, exegesic level, or Memotzinu to Kav Chomer, or it's on the level?
It's either way, because it's a logical inference. So yeah, I would say it is the same exegetical level. Okay? Says Gemara, why is not mentioned nevela in our Mishnah? Nevela, if you have a steak from a nevela, so it's also as well, and it's not boto, right? Because chatichru iskabit. Rabbi Yisrael Mun said, "Lo masniya el davar shasar ba'asur ba'noya." Only mention things that are forbidden to benefit from. Nevela mutaris ba'noya. While it's true it has the mixture, it's not asur ba'noya, right? He's when they ask, "Are chometz a Pesach?" Well, chometz a Pesach, chometz Pesach asur ba'noya. And even we hold the asur b'mashu, right? Yet it's not mentioned in our Mishnah. How come? So it says the Gemara. The things we talk about in Mishnah, you don't get kares if you derive benefit from them. You might be flogged, and you might go to the other place, but there is no specific kares for it. Okay? Rabbi Yossi b'shem Rabbi Chanina, it should be Rabbi Yossi b'Rabbi Chanina boy. He asks like this: That's a strange question. B'tziruf means, let's say, it was a chatichuri liskabed, and you clumped it together. But you yourself, it's like a question whether you're allowed to be a vatal isur l'chatchila. It was a significant and distinct portion, which means it would never be canceled, even if you have 100 slabs of meat in which are kosher, and one which is treif, so since chatichuli iskabed, it has all of them. Can't eat any of them, right? Okay, since one of them is a significant portion. So the shaila is, though, what happens if you tzirfa means you clump them together, which means you chopped it up and made like a hamburger out of all these steaks. So does it lose its status chatich or least gabid or not? That's what Gemara is asking. Okay, so it says what's the story? Where am I? Yisrael Maushi Badlum Tzirus. It says more about the Shor Nisko. I understand. Our mission says Shor Nisko is not Bato. Now Shor Nisko is not Bato. L'chayra, when I talk about the Shor Nisko getting mixed up in other oxen, I'm not talking about a whole ox and a whole ox, right? That you can identify the Shor Nisko. You can identify it, right? Obviously, then you take it out. You can say, oh, that's Fido, the Shor Nisko. You take it out from all the spots and the busters and all those other oxen, right? So therefore, it must be that you can't identify it. It must be you can't identify it. It must be that you ground all the meat together. It must be that it's not botel. Even once you grind them together, they start off being distinct. So not necessarily. In other words, it could be talking about where tipater b'chaticha tipater b'chatichos. Maybe talking about a bunch of chatichos is garbage. That's why it's not botel, because there are a bunch of steaks. But it could be that if you did grind them all together, then the taka would be botel. Okay? So
it doesn't say maybe all the oxen look alike, and if you mix one ox up...
No, but they don't look alike. They don't look alike. To you, they look alike. Okay? So, Vati and Sipur Mizora. Now it says, well, what about the birds? Right? L'chora, the birds, if they were separate, you could still tell them apart, right? Says Mara. And here you can't answer it's chatichos, because there's no such thing as a chaticho is copied by a bird. Once it's chopped up, there's no bird steak, right? You can't have a chop of a bird, which is, a significant portion. So it says, you know what, there you have to say it's about bird among birds. You're right. I mean, it's difficult, but that's what you have to say. It says more, I guess it's hard to tell birds apart. But then we learned Seir Nazir. What about, we mentioned the hair of a Nazir. What's the chashivas there, right? It's tzipor. You're going to say a bird among birds. We're talking about pieces of hair. So it says, when they learned the Sugyan Orla, he hated Rabbi Yaakov kum Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yaakov is from Rabbi Yossi. But then we learn, Horek Malayasit mit Semer, Bechor, if somebody weaves into a garment, a seat is like this length of the from here to here. I think it's actually from here to here. So amen, or maybe I don't remember which one it is. Anyway, whatever it is, the wool of a bukhar, which is a sheep, me bag it into a garment. You have to burn the whole garment. I bag it, the entire garment. Me say and then nazir if you wove some hair of a nazir, or me petachamor some hair, some donkey hair from a firstborn donkey, bisak, into cashmere, which is also hair. Yidolei got to burn the whole thing. Yidolei kasak. So he said. So that's the case. We see that now it's not clear what exactly he's trying to prove. That's the thing. Really, that cold? I'm still hot. Just I feel guilty putting it under 71. Okay. They say Napoleon was cold even in the height of July. So, yeah. So,
are you associating with Napoleon?
What? Yeah. You're a bit too.
He made war for the sake of war.
You're a bit too tall. I'm listening now to biography.
War for the sake of peace.
Yeah, I'm listening to a biography of Napoleon now. That's why I know that. Okay.
That's why he had his hand in his shirt.
Yeah, it was always cold. That's right. Lamaisa, it is stunning the similarities between Napoleon and Hitler. I think there's even a book on the topic, but it's stunning. You don't need to have a book on the topic. It's amazing, the similarities. Okay, so name it. So the truth is, the question is whether there's any answer to be inferred from this. One of the Mepharshim, I forget who Bilit Hatzvi was a modern book. He wants to say that that's considered to be a chashva amount. In other words, this shiur of mole hasit is considered to be chashuv. It's a significant amount of thread, which I find difficult because it doesn't seem like that's a significant amount of thread to me. But the way he's learning, it's like chaticha mina chatichos. It's like a piece of chaticha or liskabed. It's like the equivalent of chaticha or liskabed by thread, that it's this length of thread. I don't know. It seems to me that this would be a raya fakert, if anything, that this would be a proof that you don't need to have a davar choshev. If something is also bad then even if it's not a davar choshev, if it can aser. And taka, like it said before, even if it's here for, and even if you clumped it together, it's still asers. So now this seems to me the exact opposite is clarified from here. So again, according to Eretz Tzvi, you can clarify from this proof that you need a davar choshev, and the davar choshev is the size of a seat. According to the way I'm learning, you need to have this is a braya that you don't need by the Asar No, as long as it comes from a significant source, you don't need to remain with a significant source. So he said right in one line before the Mishnah, Ilu Amar, if you would have said, this should be Ilu Amar, Itusav Tamon, should be Ilu Itusav Tamon, Yos Hava. Were you to have mentioned this when we learned Masech Tavot, it would have been nice. Why did you wait till Orla to remember to have to tell me over this thing from the case in Orla? Okay. If Yain Nesach falls into a well of wine, obviously, the entire thing is also banoia. Not true. You can sell the entire amount of wine to a goy because they're not afraid. We said earlier himself he's going to sell it back to a Jew. Except for the value of yain nesach, which is in it, you deduct for that yain nesach. Rabbi says that yain nesach shenafel abor, yain nesach fell into a well of wine. You sell the entire well to a guy. Besides for the value of the yain nesach, which in essence is our Mishnah, and Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yasser said, "Cham Rabbanan." I skipped. Rabbi Shmuel Nazim Shir Chama said, "Look, Shingalil, which is the same thing." Rabbi Yasser said, "Chad Rabbanan nafka mi base vada." A certain rabbi came out of the base Medrash and said he's Balgun, Rabbi Yochanan, Reish Lakish, Rabbi Yochanan argued. Once said he could sell the entire batch except minus the price of the yain nesach. Chadam said, whoever concedes behind the tavshil, if you poured yain nesach into a cooked dish, shu also, that's also. Now, even though there might be nice in town with gam, we said earlier in the Masechta, but nevertheless it's also. And the reason is because in that case, Lamaisa, it's nice in time. Okay? So it could be that it's nice, even the Moshe says nice in time l'shvach. Okay, which could be, which case certainly asks the tavshil. But even could be that because of the chumrah of yain nesach, we by chometz on Pesach also we're machmir, even if it's nice in time l'fgam. Right? Remember that? By chometz on Pesach we're machmir nice in time l'fgam. Why? Because until it's possible mechilas kelim. So here it's possible, even if it's nice at time of Gam, he concedes that it's also, nevertheless, because it gives a time, and we're macher because of the chumra v'yisuri hano. However, in the case where it is yain b'yain, so it's not giving a taste at all, so therefore you can deduct for the price of the yain nesach and sell the rest of the batch, right?
Now, this case, Rosh Hashanah, they're talking about after the food has been cooked, you're pouring in the cold water. You're not cooking.
Well, we said fakeret, we said the opposite back there. We said if you pour it cold in, it's good. Cook together, it's bad. Is that what you said? No, you said the opposite. Yeah, if you cook together, it's bad. They didn't hold of cooking with wine. They had no cooking wine concept. Okay? So it says, I'm Rabbi Mishem Rab. Rabbi said name Rab. Even the Chachamim agreed to Gamliel if it didn't get actually physically mixed together, but rather there was one barrel of yain nesach mixed into other barrels of kosher wine. So it's not no same time. In other words, they're looking at it as if as when it gets mixed together, so then the molecules of the yain nesach pervade the entire mixture, and then the entire mixture becomes awesome. You can't sell any of it. But if it's a barrel among other barrels, then it's okay.
It's called the parish.
No. You still can't drink it. No, it's all usher. It's all usher.
It is also.
It's all usher, but you can sell for the price of the wine minus the price of yain nesach. Okay. So. You can't drink it, but you can sell it. Okay, that's what it says here. You can sell all of them to the guy, which broke except for the price of the yain nesach of it. Until this was said, I did not know it should do that. Skip the next for the first 4 words of the line, so they out the money. I didn't know the Chacham would see their Shagam in this case. I thought Dilma Lois, take the word Dilma perhaps Lois Hamisal Moider Shagam Chacham. Maybe it's the other way around, or the Shagam could see the Chacham by Tavshil. I didn't know that worked both ways. The Chacham conceded the point of Shagam on one aspect, and Shagam could see the Chacham on one point. Rabbi Yehuda said, Rabbi Zera too. Rabbi Zera knew this very well. It's a person, it's like a person who pretends when he hears something to be astonished. Which actually, I guess, he was making the guy who said it over feel good. Right? It was trying to be nice to him, say, wow, what a great Kiddush you said, I didn't know this before. He's trying to encourage him. Okay? Says Marloch Yidal, Gashel Evan, Shazafafat Andachri. You have a wine press or wine storage of stone, and a guy put pitch in it to wine it, and the assumption was that whenever they put pitch in, they put a little wine in the pitch, I guess to give the pitch a better taste, whatever the case may be. Okay, maybe to fortify the pitch. So therefore, it's possible to see yain nesach in it. So you scrub it. You scrub it with water and with soap or afer, it says here, and it's okay, because that takes away the taste. Really, it's no time of gum at that point, right? Because you took it away by scrubbing. V'shel eitz, if it's made out of wood, Rebbe Omeir gave. Rebbe says you also do scrubbing. Chachormim, it's not enough. You call if it says eves, you have to take off the pitch. V'shel cheres, if it's a pottery gas, if you took out the pitch, hareza still remains also because the taste permeates the pottery itself through the pitch. Masisa the Rebbe, our Mishnah is Rebbe, meaning that even the Reish of the Mishnah is going like Rebbe, even though Rebbe doesn't say anything there, the Reish is also going like Rebbe. Rebbe Omeir gave, Rebbe holds that that even the stone one, both Rebbe and Rabbanan agree that you scrub it. Shal eitz, it's on the wood one that we first have a machlokes, which is Rebbe Omer. Rebbe says, gave, they all have to do is scrub it. Chacham say you have to peel off the pitch. The Shal cheres, look, Rebbe, the other Mishnah, where it says, a pottery is also, it's not like Rebbe, because Rebbe Taka would be matter in that case. So Rebbe is very consistent, he could allow it just by scrubbing, and I assume it means scrubbing off the pitch. Scrubbing the pitch. Scrubbing the layer of the wine off the pitch, right? Not the pitch itself off. But the Chacham argue in various different places, and depending on what the Mishnah is saying, it's either the Rebbe speaking or Chacham is speaking or both.
We've spoken about this before, about these single malt scotch that are aged in wine, sherry line casks.
It sounds like this is going to be a problem. The only reason why it would not be a problem is if it gives an off taste. Right. If the sherry casks don't give a good taste. Here it's obviously the wine casks.
It's giving a good taste.
Yeah.
Don't say no tam l'shvach is good.
Yeah, well, it's not if it's not shvach would be a problem.
But you're getting a no out of the taste.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's not yain nesach anyway.
Okay, it's not.
It's not nesach no. Okay. The Armish is talking about yain nesach mamish. So I'm not sure what the loch by Stam Yenim would be. I assume somebody found the answer for them.
they wrote articles if you get the taste of sherry and such.
Oh, that makes sense.
But normally it just absorbs the alcohol. Scotch makes the scotch.
Alkali is what makes scotch taste like fire? Not acid? Okay.
Not a sketch.
Whatever.
It all tastes bad.
I don't like sketch.
Okay.
Crown
I don't like it. It all tastes bad. All tastes bad. Anyway. Wine is good, I agree. So, even beer is better than scotch. Okay. So, Bida Azamai. This is not like Rebbe, this last thing about the pottery, because we find explicit Rebbe allows pottery. The Tanya, we learn Hagas, the wine press, Machatz. This is it's like a jug with which you transport wine from place to place. V'amashpech in a funnel, shall not to go. Rebbe Matir. Rebbe says permitted, and it sounds like even if it's Kli Cheres, Achon Ros and Achon concede, forbid. Motor Rebbe kan kanim shasuros. Rebbe concedes by it says more, it's not necessarily approved, because that could be the Rebbe that permits those even they're made of pottery, but he forbids the jugs mentioned on Mishnah. What's the difference? Very simple. Depends if you store wine in that for a long time or not. The jugs in our Mishnah, where you store wine in those pottery jugs for a long time, could be there's a lot of seepage. Suppose in this case where you're not pouring, just pouring right away, so there's very little of any seepage. Okay? Says Rebbe that looks like Rebbe that it's enough to be menagev. Says more papyrus vessels, which were coated by a goy. You put in the words here from the next line, as well. It looks like Rebbe in this one as well. Skipping what we just read before, in new case, Tani. Well, it says Tani, but it should be Tani, because new case, if you were taking a non-kosher wine press, and you want to make a Torah, so the various different things you have to do. Lulavim vadapin. The lulavim are the brooms which are used to gather the grapes together. But dapim are beeves we should put down on the grapes to press them. Vadasha, the lentil, I'm not sure exactly what it is. I guess it's like what it holds the grapes as you're pressing them. And now what all you have to do is scrub them, the term, and their tor. Va'ekel, the weight, shown the ekel is the basket which holds the grapes. The ekel, which is shown the torim, if it's made out of strands of reed or whatever, it's something tough. I'm not sure exactly what. Bishop Batput, I don't know what Batput is either, but the Moshe says it's cannabis. So Vishal 8, and it's made out of wood. So according to the Shaita, the word menagvan, which means they're strong enough that all you have to do is scrub them. They're not very absorbent. According to the way the Gemara reads here, so it's not enough even with these to be menagin them, not just enough to scrub them. Rather, it's one long run on sense. It goes the next thing. Shel shifa, it's made out of cork. Shel chutim of string. Shel gami, another type of fiber. So in that case, all these cases, no, it's not good enough to just scrub. Rather, you have to leave it around for 12 months unused. That's so nice what you would do with your dishwasher. You want to change your dishwasher from fleshik to milchik. Gotta wait 12 months. Because plastic, we assume, has either chumrah. Some poskim argue, but most poskim know plastic, the chumrah has a din of kli cheres. So therefore, how long do you have to wait in order for the taste to fully go away? 12 months. Same thing with China, stuff like that. There's 12 months until the taste goes away. Okay? So that's why it says here, things which are very absorbent, even they, after 12 months, are okay. It doesn't necessarily 12 months, but rather be bad lebad, from annual press to annual press by olives, gas from annual press to annual press by grapes as well. If you need to make the stuff immediately Torah, you have to cut corners, can't wait 12 months. So then, interesting, you put it as not in the Bavli, You put it under the jug under a faucet with pressure, where the water really flows. Or with a fast-flowing river, for an owner. Kishain Shamanagi Taros, just like that cleans out by Taros. I don't know what that's referring to. Cleans out by Taros or by Taros. You're cleaning out, you need to dunk in a mikveh or something. But I don't know exactly what it's referring to. But Kishain Shamanagi Taros Kacham Nagim Yainesa, the same is true by Yainesa. And how coming owner, what is an owner? So Rabbi Yosef Shemir said, it's half a day, half a night, which is 12 hours. It's a day or night. What do I tell them? No. Depends whether the day and night are equivalent length, or the day and night are not equivalent length. In other words, it's 12 hours. No matter how you slice it, 12 hours. Okay? Says the Mishnah, the last Mishnah of it is if you buy usable utensils from a goy, eshadarko, like that which you normally have to tovel, you have to tovel, which you normally have to put into hot water in order to remove any prohibited substance therein. Yagil, you have to put into hot water. I know those that you make white hot in the fire. Ilabin, you have to put it in the white hot. Hashpud is a skewer of askal. It's also something of that sort. Malabnam bui, you have to use white hot fire on them. Vasakin and knife. Shop, all you have to do is scrub it tough. As we know, you stick it in the ground 10 times. Vitor and star. Okay? That which it says, if you take stuff which belong to a goy, usable stuff, and it's stuff which you know that he makes food with, so therefore you have to tovel them. Kigon, such as kosos, or the cups, if they're light cups. You just rinse them off in the tar. Avo euros, but pots. The kumkumim of various different and urns. Magil and b'cham, it's not just enough to rinse them off in the mikvah, but rather you have to put them into hot water, urn themselves. What if you use them even though you didn't yet tovel them, or put them into the hot water, or b'shaf, or scrub them, or leave it, or make them white hot? A real term, they're okay b'diavad. Why they're okay b'diavad? Because of what principle? What would you guess?
My principle.
Not the Svetov principle.
Right?
Why is it mutter? If you didn't tovel it. Well, actually, didn't tovel it's because you could say tefillas came as a mitzvah. It's not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily prohibit, but I would say it is because it's a town of gam. Because after 24 hours, already the keli is not considered to give off good taste. So you still chatchila have to tovel it, and you have to be magil it, that. But the Eviv it's not so bad. Okay. Says Mare. Tana Rabbi Yeshua said, don't think that in all where you have to kasher, it's enough to kasher, you have to tovel anyway. Okay, it's not enough just kasher, you have to tovel. Okay? Says Mare Kada, like the following case, Ravami, Solik Rabbi Yeshua. It's a Rabbi, but it's Ravami. Ravami. Solikim Rabbi Yeshua went to Rabbi Yeshua Chamsa to go there. It's a place called Hamas go there. Only ask Kesef, they borrowed money. Well, not money, silver vessels. I mean, Elan Diuna Diosonis from the silversmiths, according to the Chazam Shai. Now, Chazam has a convoluted thing here, it seems, where he says that it's so about they borrowed in order to smelt it and change it. And then it's like a real shaila. If you smelt or change a keli which you got from a goy, you have to tovel it. Or not. Because if you toveled it, if you smelted or changed it, or smithed it, then you made it new keli. I remember where Yaakov has this great cooler by coffee or coffee cans. I told you this cooler ever?
Sounds
Yeah, coffee cans. Rabbi Yaakov was the one who's Machmir. Sorry, Moshe the one who's Mako. Moshe says if you buy like a Taste of Choice coffee jar, and after your coffee, you want to use it to hold your sugar, you don't have to tovel in the meantime. Why not? It's a glass vessel, requires to be limited rabbanan, right? Because you made it into a keli. Because they made it disposable. You're the one who decided to keep it. So you made it into a keli. So here too, the Chazam Sefer, it's on the bottom, it's from the Juvas. He learns that you actually want to change it, therefore he has a whole, cheshbon like that, If you were going to change it, why was the having you have to toivel it? But the simple, straightforward way of learning is that they didn't mean to change it. They didn't mean to change the kelim. So anyway, they borrow kelim. Show Rabbi Yirmiyah, they asked Rabbi Yirmiyah, you have to tell them, because they went out from the tomb of the guy, they became wholly Jewish, right? So they asked him, Neitz, it says Yotzu, but the Mepharshim should say Neitz. Neitz chutz in Lamed, let's go teach this to the masses. Nafki, so as they're about to go and teach us halacha, they went to Yerushalmi, they heard Rabbi Yaakov, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shem Yochai said, Lo shel lokech, yitaketor if the toivel if you are from a guy. Yitak only if the toivel if you buy from a goy. This has to do with becoming permanently Jewish. In this case, it wasn't going to become permanently Jewish. Okay? Says the Mare, Me'ato, that's case, Afilu Kalim. What about new vessels? Right? Even new Kalim should be potter from Hagolah, because the guy hasn't yet used them. Says the Mare, no. But Rabbi Yeshua, something Kalim, whenever he bought Kalim, he would be makbil them. So Allah by korbanos, if you want to use a skewer or a rack, which is used for kachim, for regular meat, chulin, so all you have to do is do argola. You don't have to leap one. So how come over here you have to leap one for it? You use it for Avodah Zarah. Over there you have to only do argola. You have to dunk it in the water, right? Why you have to make it white hot in there? You only have to dunk it in the water. So it says Amar Chaymer B'Gulei Nachrim. Here it's a chumrah. By Gulei Nachrim, since it has glacial stuff in it, so we're machmir, you require you actually not just to toivel it, but also to be malabin it, to make it white hot. Second, if you have a knife which is used for improper purposes, so Takvar Shlosh Paminu Dayo, I said 10 before, but here it says 3, plug into the land, to the earth, to hard earth, right? Obviously 3 times, and there's the famous Bava Maisa who leave it buried in the earth for 3 days. So Bava Maisa, it's a sheker, that's not enough, you have to stick it in the earth 3 days. Okay? 3 times in a row. The dio, not sufficient, right? But it's the same thing as using detergent. Right? Bava Sheh Rabbi, this is only by a small knife, which is only used for limited things. Abosakin goes libun, but if it's a large knife, it requires libun. For libun tzarech shiyun nitzosin natzimena, and when you do libun, it's got to have sparks flying from it. Okay, because obviously a big knife gets more use and requires more reaction. Okay, guys, when you go home, make a siyum. We're going to start Masechet Horayos in the meantime. Okay, I have a tremendous taiva for hot peppers, so you excuse me, I want to get some hot peppers.
That's going to make
Horror based it. Okay, Horayos Alf Rav. Horror based it. Now it's interesting, in this first mission we don't paskin like it. This mission says, if a patient paskin to transgress one of the mitzvahs and would stay in the Torah, even if an individual went and did a maisa, Shoiga PM unintentionally, the more is going to ask, of course it's unintentional. He thought the basin said it's mutter, right? How PM based on their say so. Ben Shasu Vasayman, whether they did it and he did it with them. Ben Shasu, or they did it, Vasayman, he did it subsequent to them. Ben Shalasu, even they didn't do it, Vasa, and he did it based on their say so. I raised the party to exempt his own personal karma, and they should talk about Basin because he relied on Basin. Now, what what we don't paskin like in our Mishnah is that we paskin that the only time Basin brings a korban and exempts you, and the korban is when? What's one of the conditions? Anybody remember? Not individual, but most of Am Yisrael. At least most of the Shaving. Okay? You can't just be an individual. Individuals don't get off the hook on the basis of Basin. It's got to be a whole community, as you put it. Okay? Or Basin basket. One of them knew that they were making a mistake. Even one of the students was sitting in front of the basin who was suitable already to paskin. Nevertheless, he went and said, well, they paskin smooth, they paskin I can eat cheeseburgers. I know it's us to eat cheeseburgers, but what the heck, basin said it's okay. So I'm going to go eat my cheeseburger, right? So in that case, Ben Charles where they did and he did with them, Ben Charles, they made the Sanhedrin outing to McDonald's the day they want their cheeseburgers, right? Ben Charles whether they did it, he did it subsequent to them. If they didn't do it us and he did it, I raise the chayv, he's lying. He wasn't lying based. He knew based was doing it also. He just used based as an excuse, right? Zakah is the general principle. Anybody who's contingent on himself is liable to bring his own personal korban. If he's contingent on based in part, he's exempt from his own personal korban. Okay? Nevesh kisechta. Now this drush is actually going to Rabbi Akiva, as we'll see much later. And Rabbi Akiva is the one who makes this drush, and not Rabbi Shmuel. But how do we know that it has to do with being contingent on basin, not contingent on oneself? Nefesh kisechta, it says nefesh, and it says kisechta. That's one preclusion. I'm sorry, it says nefesh achas kitechta. Achas techta, one soul sins. Basosa, when it sins, techta, it will sin. Oh, that got that right. No, the word I did got wrong. Sector goes on nefesh, on achas, and on basosa. So sector goes on all three. So array lumut in there, these are all preclusions. And what's one of the things that precludes? Hatola ba'atzmo chayev. If somebody's relying on his own cognizance, he's liable to bring his own personal chatas. Hatola basin parts only if he relies on basing his parts. And then, as I said, the one is going to take us up later on. B'chol asar atamar, that's my technicality. All of you say miut achar miut l'rabos. If you have an exclusion after an exclusion, it includes. The katamar miut achar miut l'may, you say the exclusion including. Right? You're precluding from each one, precluding some other type of person who didn't really rely on basin, and he's liable to his own korban. How come if you have a miut achar miut, how can you use the l'rabos? Miut achar miut should be used. I can use it to be might to exclude somebody from this parasha being sent from korban. It should, second one, first one should exclude, the second one include, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it says more. By the way, we didn't see it what the other two exclusions are. We didn't see it. Okay, well, eventually we'll see it. In any event, so who else is excluded from relying on basin? So in any event, be that as it may, shani. Sorry. I'm right with Sani says shani dichsiv miut achar miut. It says exclusion, inclusion, exclusion. So the reverts all being exclusions. Now the matter point is a little bit of field day here because it brings a case in which that's not true. So he says it depends how it's written. It's all written in the same parsha, the same place in Torah. They're not the same place in Torah. The sign that they say it's a miut riboy. Some cases say it becomes, since it's miut and then another miut, so it's miut. Okay, they're all exclusions. Anyway, be that as all it may.
What are the three specific miuts?
It doesn't say that. I don't think Pnei Moshe means down either. He doesn't, so I don't know. Oh. No, I know what they are. I don't know what they're might. It says nefesh, achas, basosa. Each one is a solution. It's got to be a nefesh, or one when it does. Okay? So it says more. Rabbi Chagai Shol Chavraya. Rabbi Chagai asks the Chevra. Minayin l'ochos b'reshus. How do you know the guy who eats with permission? Shu patur. This is a difficult case. Not difficult in pshat, difficult conceptually. The guy was eating truma. He thought it was a kohen. Immediately came to him and said, Yankel, you're Yisrael. He doesn't bring a korban. I asked, what's interesting him and a guy who was Yisrael? Well, I thought he was eating chulin, it turned out he was eating truma. That he does bring a korban. What's the difference? If you thought you were a kohen, and found Yisrael, you're exempt. If you thought you were eating chulin, and found out you were eating truma, you're liable.
One's on the chefs of Yosef.
That's more his answer. Okay, it doesn't really give a why, but that's the answer. Yeah.
It just This explains it, but doesn't
Right.
have any logic to it.
No logic. It's brisker chiluk, right? Classical brisker chiluk. Okay, so I found on the internet. I found a picture of the yeshiva in Telz in Lithuania. I put that on my wallpaper. Yeah. Okay. The
Wanted to make a Xerox copy, send it to Rabbi first. Like
Yeah.
the new machine.
Okay. So Rabbi Chagai Shol Chavrai Midayin Lochel B'Yeshushu Potter. How do you know somebody eats with permission that he's exempt? Ma ben Sava Shuchlim Nitza Truma Shuchayev. What's the interesting guy Toris in Chulin Toris eats in Truma that he's liable to bring a korban? Ma ben Amasil Matzah Shukoin. Somebody who holds he is a Kohen. V'nim to Yisrael finds that the Yisrael Shu Potter is exempt. Army so they said the difference is Horayos based in. There's no logic to it, but it's inferred from this parsha of Horayos based in. So it's in our Mishnah we see this difference. Because in our Mishnah we see based in, the reason why you did it is because you thought it was okay to do it. Because you thought based in Paskin, based in Paskin it's okay. So it's a mistake in you. In what your understanding the circumstances of your eating are. As opposed to mistaking what you are eating, so then you're exempt. It's a fascinating dichotomy. Okay, it's not necessarily a why, but it's a what. In other words, since Horayos based in exempts because you thought that you were okay in your eating, so too if you thought you were Kohen, you were okay in your eating, so you're exempt as well. As opposed to when you thought it was chulin and it turns out to be truma, so that's not in the eating or the itur, but it's rather in the food. There, taka, you're liable. Okay? I didn't explain anything, but I gave a source for it.
Yeah.
Okay? Horayos Basin is the source. Says Gemara, Omer Lon, so he said, I also have this, so Rabbi Chagai continued, I also have this question. Shabbos. Now, till I tell you about the person who was eating, and the food he was eating, the poel and the nifal, right? The guy who's doing and what he's doing upon. What about the pu'ula? What about the activity itself? So now I'm going to ask about the activity. What about the guy? The guy thinks it's a weekday. He's doing malacha. And it turns out, lo and behold, what is it? Shabbos. Shuchayev. He's got to bring a korban for that. As opposed to somebody who thinks that what he's shechting on Shabbos is a korban Pesach, and it turns out that it's a shlomim, shu potter. It's a Pesach you're allowed to shecht on Shabbos. Shlomim you're not. How come in that case he's exempt, right? Why does he have to bring a korban? So Amalei said that's different because of another technicality. Because he's toya b'dvar mitzvah. He thinks he's being shechting b'rishus. If he's making a mistake, assuming he's doing a mitzvah, toya b'dvar mitzvah, even though he didn't do the mitzvah, he is exempt from being a korban. Okay? Amalei said, also the following question. Ma ben savashu muter v'nimcha aser. That's actually a pretty fascinating question. You have a guy who's Omer Mutter. He thinks there's no issue in Torah Chveis of forbidden fats, right? No issue on having filet mignon, right? And it turns out that and he eats it, right? He eats filet mignon. This of course has chaylev in it. Has lots of chaylev in it. V'nim saucer, and finds out that it's also sure it should be the gra in Trumos, and the Moshe is supposed to say it should be shu potter. He's exempt from being korban. Omer mutter. If he thought it was mutter, he doesn't be a korban on it. Isn't that interesting?
Now he's not a tinok shenishba. He knew the din. He just
he didn't know the din. No, he didn't know the din.
Oh, then he's a tinok shenishba.
So what? You should still have to bring a korban. Why should you have to bring a korban?
Because he never knew the din.
So the Gemara is asking, what's in this guy? Mabin su sover, and guy who thinks shu chayil v'nim su shuman, and he thought this was, he was Should be Ben Savar Shu Shuma V'nim Sachelev. Okay, missed that one.
Because there he knows the difference between chaylev and shuma. He just didn't know that specific piece of fat was.
Why should I make a difference? You're being brisker again. So what did you that? He found it was shuma, and it turns out it's chaylev shu. It should be chayav, that he's liable for a carbon. So they didn't have an answer for him. Armalon just said, "Name elchon minon." I'll tell you. Learn that from here. It has to be somebody who, when he becomes aware of his sin, he'll bring a carbon, which means that the way the Gemara learns it is hashav midioso. Where he, although it doesn't use this language in the Yerushalmi, the Bible explains it, is if were you to have known it was chaylev, you would have not have eaten it. Hashav midioso, that were you to have known it was chaylev, when David that he brings a carbon. Somebody who wouldn't be shav midioso, had he known that it's chaylev, he still would have eaten it because he was omer muter, right? He thought it's mutter to eat chaylev. So such guy, even if he doesn't know that it's chaylev, since he wouldn't eat it anyway, so therefore he's exempt from eating carbon. Okay, that's the exact discuss. So again, it's not logical necessarily, but that's the discuss.
It's like the Tinok Shinishba. He would have eaten it because he didn't know that the chaylev was also.
Okay, if you can understand the reason Tinok Shinishba is a carbonus, then you got this one too. You know, it's the same idea. That's true. So it says Gemara, I'm alone. Sorry, Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi came in. Amalei, so he said, "Kashlan under the mitzvah." Said Rabbi Yossi, a guy asked this question. Amalei, so he said to him, "Lamalo, I give too." And why didn't you respond to him? Minodah from this halacha of Avodah Zarah, which tells you about Shav Midiyaso. They said, Chagai Kashiso, Chagai Chaimeso. Chagai Taka asked a question. Taka gave that answer. No. You're right. That was the answer Itaka gave, Rabbi Chagai. Now, die to Rabbi Shmuel. According to Rabbi Shmuel, the lo mafne ahen kroya. Now, normally lo mufne, in Bavli at least, means this person is not extra, right? Right, lo mufne, you need exer shav, has to be mufne, has to have open words. That's not what it means here. Over here means, well, die to Rabbi Shmuel, according to Rabbi Shmuel, the lo mafne who does not direct. He doesn't direct this pasuk of Hoda to the following cause, meaning he used it for something else, not for this, what we're about to say. So according to him, it's good. That's what we're going to say. Okay, he doesn't use the pasuk of Hoda to teach us that people are chayav achatos and asham vadai, a definite chayav achatos and asham, not asham totally. If you're chayav, we have this back in the shul. So you're chayav an asham totally, right? You don't know if you ate shuchem and a chaylev or shuman. Yom Kippur passes, you don't have to bring the asham totally anymore. Yom Kippur obliterates the chiyuv to bring the asham totally. How do you know if it's an asham vadi? He definitely had relations with a shiva charuf, or he definitely lied about knowing testimony. One of the things which he was doing a definite asham. How do you know that? Because even if Yom Kippur passes, it's still liable to the korban. So I don't know. According to Rabbi Shmuel, it's not germane. I don't remember. I saw it today. I just don't remember what he says. But he has learned from Ohoda. From Ohoda, he knows that he learns you have to have Yediyah B'tchila. You have to have known at some point that this is Aser. In order to be Chayv to a Smikdash V'Kadosh, or whatever it's about there, bringing him Shavuos. So Take, from this week, according to him, we can use Ohoda to teach us that Hashem Midyasa, only if you would have had that you had awareness, you knew it sometimes it was also, and then you forgot that you're being korban, right? However, but I'll die to Rabbi Korban here, the Mafne who directs this pasuk of Ohoda to Mechuyav Echatos Hashavas V'Adayim Shavalom Yom Kippurim, that he learns so that people who are Chayav Echatos and Osham Badi, the Kapanim Yom Kippur pass, that they have to be a korban. The time is in the Bryce to be 9 Mechuyav Echatos Hashavas V'Adayim. I know somebody's liable to a chatos and osham with definitiveness, right? The definite one. The Shem Chayam and Lavi Acher Kiyom Kippurim, that they're required being after Yom Kippurim, despite the fact the Chayav Hashem is fleeing those who are liable to contingent Hashomos, the one which are brought. If you're not sure if you're sinned or not, they're exempt. Because the pasuk says, "Oh, die love chatasovevi." when he comes aware of his sin, then he brings Aflach Yom Kippurim, even after Yom Kippur. So according to him, how do we know that you have to Yerushalmi Diyoso in order to acquire a korban? How do we know that you have to have been somebody who worthy to have known its chaylev would have refrained from eating it in order to bring a korban? So this is Marina Dot from here. Nevesh Kisechta from the pasuk we brought down way at the beginning of the Gemara, where it says Nevesh Kisechta Achas Techta Bas Soiso. The three mutim, the miut, achar miut. One of them, another one of the ones there, eliminates a guy who didn't know that this was also, and therefore, had he have known there was chaylev, he wouldn't eat it anyway. So he doesn't bring a korban. Okay? So, hatayla b'atzon ha'chayev, hatayla beis in potter. We learn from this somebody who's considered himself as chayev, somebody's considered based in potter, and so too we link to that and we say somebody who worried to have known that it's chaylev still wouldn't have eaten it, he still would have eaten it, so therefore he's also potter. Okay? And chayev in our new issue. And chayev al davar shel goli land v'nichsaman. Right? Usually in yeshiva we want to go 5 minutes late, so we're here and go 5 minutes late too, right? And chayev al davar shel goli land v'nichsaman. Even based in, also, continuing along these lines, only chayav and something which they knew at some point, and then they forgot about it. My time what Putz teaches us for this, v'nelam davar, something that's concealed from them. Davar shel goli lem, something which was revealed to them, one point v'nilsem, and then was revealed to them. Al daita Rabbi Shulchan Shel Dormer said, v'nelam imenu, it says, in Shavuos there, but too much meat to Kadoshim. That Nelam Imenu Miklausha Yodeh, that even though it says Nelam Imenu once, that already teaches us Shaya Yodeh, Vuyoda, that he knew, right? And he knows at the end, Aresh Yedios, right? So he was aware before and aware afterwards. But and middle he forgot. So to here by the Sanhedrin, they were at the beginning, were at the end, they forgot in the middle. Okay. But I'll die to Rabbi Kiva, according to Rabbi Kiva, that the only way you know that he knew originally, forgot, and then knew again is because it says Nelim Menu 2 times, right? How only for that we know that he knew at the beginning and knew at the end, but forgot in the middle. So how hereby Sanhedrin do we know this way it has to be? They knew at the beginning, then forgot, then remembered again. How do you know? It only says Nelam here once, not twice. So they say, I'll tell you why. Tamulomar v'nelam dovor. The extra word dover. We dash the extra word dover. Dover shall go 11 nichsomem, so which was revealed to them, and then they forgot it. Okay? Also, if they eliminated a mitzvah to, like, let's say eliminated chaylev altogether. It says no mitzvah chaylev in Torah. Then forget it. That's not considered helim dover. It's got to be, they said, this chaylev is mutzar, this chaylev is also. In other words, chaylev on the kidneys is also, chaylev on the stomach is mutzar. Okay, in other words, they made a mistake, because that chaylev is also also, but it's not a total complete mistake. They didn't eliminate chaylev altogether, they eliminated part of chaylev in Torah. Okay? V'nelam dover. Something, not the entire episode. Okay? So, also that's speak that they paskin that it's mutter. Potter, but if they paskin it's also the rabbanon. And the guy went and did it anyway. They paskin potter ravel also, right? That even though it's potter from the Torah's punishment, it's also from Chazal. This I don't believe is in the Bavli. So then, lobda. In that case, they're not liable. Because the guy shouldn't have done it. Just because they pass it's not of their rights, it's still they hold to the Rabbana, so the guy shouldn't have done it, right? So in that case, there's no, they don't bring the carbon for him. Okay? Causes also have to pass is from the chamber of the Yun still in the base of Mikdash. Only then do they bring the carbon instead of the guy. And it's a time of the Tanya. The reason for this is because it says Mina Mokom Moshe Hashem, and that place where God chose. Other matter of a has a wacky question. Nichlasu Meo. Actually, it sounds like a statement. According to the Shelas David, it's a question. I'll tell you in a minute why. It means that it says, Nilsu me'at shiur kulam. If there are 100, normally Sanhedrin only had 100 members, right? Of course, the time Anshe Knesset Agdol, they had 120. What if 100 people sat down as members of Sanhedrin? Does it mean they all have to paskin the matter in order for you to consider it? Or even if 70 of them paskin, because that's the normal shiur of Sanhedrin. Now, it seems like that's a statement, right? That if there are 100 people there, so have to pass accordingly in order to be liable for the group korban. Okay? Elsewhere, Rabbi Azira said in order to, by Kiddush HaChodesh, you need everybody to give the same reason. The Kama, what's the story over here? Now, the truth is, Shelas David links the previous Gemara about 100 with this Gemara. He says a very interesting Kiddush. It's late, I know I don't want to get into it. But anyway, he wants to say that, in brief, there are two halachos in Sanhedrin. If the Sanhedrin is functioning in an area where it requires all 70 or all 23 dayanim or all 3 dayanim, then they need everybody who says the majority has the same majority for the same reason. Because they need a majority of an absolute number. And the only way you reach a majority of an absolute number is if you have all of them saying for the same reason, mutter, asr, chayav, potter, right? Now it's all, for example, when you need 70s, when you judge a king or judge a shevet. When you need 23, it's for capital crime. When you need 3, it's for, monetary crime. But what if the Sanhedrin was sitting as a Sanhedrin legislating or determining halacha without requiring something? For example, they were paskening a shayla hilchos nida, right, or hilchos kashrus. So in that case, you don't need tam echad. In that case, a majority works even if they're not tam echad, because the tam echad is in order to get a majority of the absolute number necessary. But if you don't require a majority of the absolute number, because the absolute number is not essential to this court case, in that case, a plurality suffices. And plurality is defined even if they give different reasons. Okay? So actually, the question is really, if they're sitting as 100, according to Shelas David, does that become the absolute number of based in? Or since there are 30 extra judges, do those 30 not become essential? Okay? So the Gemara is saying, in essence, when it says they have to say mitam echad, if the Gemara is saying that the taka, when the Gemara is asking about tam echad, it's asking about on 100. Right? On 70 as 70, you do need tam echad for the majority. What about if they said as 100 on a marriage requires 70? Is that a new halacha that they all say tam echad or not? No more, it doesn't resolve any of that. Okay? And the Gemara says, Yochi went and he did it unintentionally based on their say-so. Says the Gemara, it should be vishgogel yochid. It's based. What do you mean? Of course it's unintentional. He followed the based it. So it says more, no. Rabbi Yamshem Rishon Loker said, Masdisa Kigon Shimon Banazai. So about Shimon Azai Yosh Lifneim, he was sitting in front of the basin and he knew it was like Ma'aser Shoya. He knew they made a mistake. Hi, so why do you go ahead and do it? The Gemara's going to go and say this, but I'll leave it. Let's read this line. Even if it's the Tam Chacham in the entire Torah, he doesn't know that one manner. It's a Shimon Azai. It's not Shimon Azai. He might be a Tam Chacham and everything else, but if he didn't know this, he's Takashoyik. It's not his fault. And vice versa. He knows he doesn't know anything else, but he knows in this Sanhedrin made a mistake, right? So then Shimon ben Azai, regardless of whether he's a Tam Chacham or not, and he's amazed. He's amazed. He shouldn't have done it. So says the Gemara, Ela Kirna Kayamim Yodea Kotar. So he knows the entire Torah. Yodea, so everybody knows that man as well. El Shu Ketaya Loimar Torah Omer Achareim Achareim. He thought he's made a mistake. That said the Torah says I have to follow the Chachamim. So that's the pshat. He's amazed in the committing of Avera. He's shoygeg in that he thought he's supposed to do Avera in order to follow the Chachamim. Right? That's not going to be a shogeg vis-a-vis our halach and our Mishnah. The halach of shogeg in our Mishnah, where Beit Zimri is current for you, is only if you were not aware that they were making a mistake altogether. Not just they were mistaken that you follow them, but you're not aware they're making a mistake altogether. In that case, Beit Zimri springs for the individual is korban. I will stop here for today.